it's Caroline. I wanted to share a nice morning flow with you that helps just warm up all parts of the body. I like to do this before I even do any other kind of yoga. It just helps loosen everything up and give you energy and movement for the day. We can get started on our backs. I like to have a block or two and a bolster. And we can go ahead and get started on our backs. I'm going to take the bolsters underneath my knees and bring a block underneath my shoulder blades into a supported fish pose. So the block is just going to lay underneath your spine, just above your hip bones, and then rest in between your shoulder blades. And we'll take a few breaths here. Just start breathing naturally and notice what your breath is doing, how your body is feeling. Notice how your body is melting over the block underneath you and melting into the earth. If there's any resistance, and if your breath is becoming short and shallow. And starting to take nice, big, even inhales and exhales out of your nose. Moving at your own pace and sending nice, big inhales into your belly, activating your parasympathetic nervous system. And again, just moving at your own pace, breathing naturally and mindfully out of your nose. And now start to think of something that's been on your mind lately. Either an event that happened, either something in the future or something in the present. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing, even a good thing. Just think of something that has been on your mind recently. And then think of an I am statement that supports that thought. So if maybe you are starting your own business and you're making a lot of changes, creating an I am statement around that and around your worries, around your manifestations, your intentions, your dreams, your goals. Or maybe think of something that's been weighing on you and creating an I am statement around that. I am safe and supported. I am confident and calm. I am secure. I am on the right path. Whatever you need. Now on our next inhale, we're going to breathe and inhale through our nose for 1, 2, 3, 4, and hold at the top. And repeat that I am statement 3 times while you're holding your breath at the top. And this, you should feel filled up but relaxed, so not tense from filling up all the way. Then after you repeat those I am statements, exhale out of your nose. Draw your navel towards your spine and emptying your lungs all the way. And again, inhaling for 1, 2, 3, 4. Holding at the top, repeating those I am statements. And exhaling all the way. One more round on your own, inhaling for 4, and then holding at the top, repeating those mantras. And exhaling all the way. And starting to breathe regularly. Maybe you stretch your hands overhead. Maybe wiggling your fingers after that, just starting to wake yourself up a little bit. And when you're ready, you can remove the block from underneath your chest. Maybe slide the bolster. And take your knees into your chest as you exhale and give yourself a big hug. Maybe start to rock back and forth, giving your low back a nice massage on the earth. And then exhale, extend your left leg out in front of you. Pulling your right knee in towards your right armpit, maybe up and around your rib. Just focus on finding length in your left side body here. Loosening up your hip flexors and the front of your body. Then exhale, hug both knees back in. And then lightly bring your left or your right leg back down to the ground and bring your left knee in towards your chest. And again, just finding length throughout your right side body here in your right hip flexor. Staying with your breath, and throughout this whole practice, just see if you can keep your eyes closed and focus on your breath. Let this be a meditation with movement. And then exhale, bring your knees back in towards your chest. And you can extend both legs towards the sky now, legs up the wall, flexing your toes towards your chest. And I like to bend one knee in towards my chest. And just take little rocks back and forth, bringing my left foot back towards the ground behind me. I'm going to warm up for plow pose here. And then I'll bend the next knee. Just focus on using the strength in my low back to keep that one leg extended and guiding my movement, bringing it towards the ground behind me. And once my low back and my hamstrings are feeling loose, you can bring your feet all the way back to the ground behind you for plow pose. Taking your hands to the ground in front of you, bringing your palms to the earth, pressing your fingertips in the ground, keeping all your quads activated here. And then you can start to walk your feet wide from here. And then maybe shift the weight back down into your spine so your sit bones are on the ground. And then take your knees in towards your armpits for happy baby. Coming back to your breath, taking nice, even inhales and exhales out of your nose. Trying to rest all parts of your spine on the earth. Pressing your lowest spine and your sacrum into the ground. Just opening up your hips with some nice, gentle pressure from your hands and your arms. From here, you can play with straightening one leg and then maybe the other. And then from here, you're going to bring both legs straight and wide. Grab a hold of your shins or your thighs, wherever, feels comfortable, and you're gonna rock yourself up onto your sit bones, keeping your knees wide. My bolster's in the way. And we're gonna use our bolster in this pose. So we're gonna get ready for a wide-legged seated forward fold. I like to sit on a block for this, especially today. I went for a run yesterday and my low back feels like shit, and the block has just felt really nice this morning. So get it in a comfortable position under your sit bones. Get your legs nice and wide. I like to use my hands to walk them even further. And bring your bolster wherever feels comfortable. The closer it is towards your hips, towards your inner thighs, the more support you'll get. And of course, through all these, we want to find length. So like there's a string through the crown of your head, just pulling you up at all times. You can even practice just staying here and pressing your sit bones into the earth. And then I like to take a little anterior tilt with my pelvis. So tilt it forward, and then finding length, start to walk my hands forward, resting my chest onto the bolster. And we'll be here for a few rounds of breath. I like to stay here for a while in the morning. And just notice how this stretch feels on your inner thigh and in your hips. I feel a lot of release in my low back and in my hips from these wide folds, so I love to hold them for a long time. And as you start to warm up, you can even push the bolster forward and use it to find more length and more depth in this stretch. So I will shut up and just breathe here, surrender into this pose. This also can feel really nice if you take a bolster block and bring your elbows or triceps onto it and take your hands in prayer position. Maybe bring your thumbs to the back of your neck. And I even like to place my hands on my shoulders and give myself a little massage. You can inhale, start to walk your fingertips back up towards your hips and get out of this. I could stay in this pose all day. And now, keeping your hips on the block, I'm going to take my hands behind me on the mat and bring my knees towards the sky. Just windshield wiper my knees through the earth. And see if you can close your eyes and do this slowly and mindfully. There might be some cracks and bubbles, that's okay. And you can slide the block out from underneath you. And take your knees wide, your big toes together into a wide-legged child's pose. An option here to use a bolster. You can rest your elbows or forearms onto this and use it to help open up your chest. However this feels comfortable. And you can use blocks underneath your knees and underneath your thighs if your knees and quads are really tight. And I just like to rest my forehead on the earth here. It's a very good grounding pose. It's a very good third eye, a good pose for your third eye. And as you inhale here, just feel your breath move along down your spine as you're inhaling through your nose. And just send this breath into your low back, into your hips, into your glutes, into your thighs. And then exhale. Feel your shoulders and heart loosen up and open up, melting towards the earth beneath you. We'll take a few more rounds of breath here. Then inhale, you can start to walk your hands up back in towards your knees. And walk your knees underneath your hips into a tabletop position. And you can start by bringing the tops of your hands to the mat, giving yourself a nice wrist stretch. Just rocking back and forth. Just not applying more pressure that you can handle. I tried playing tennis the other day and my forearms are just like incredibly sore. They're destroyed, so this is for me, but I think it will help you all as well. And then you can bring your hands back to the mat to a strong tabletop, keeping your navel tucked in towards your spine, a very neutral pelvis, your hands gripping the earth. So in a neutral tabletop with your wrists underneath your shoulders, your hands gripping the earth, all 10 fingers spread widely, and your index fingers are pointed out slightly in neutral pelvis and neutral spine. You're going to inhale, lift your chest towards the sky, drop your navel towards the earth for cow pose, keeping a neutral neck but gazing forward, gazing up. And then exhale, pushing the ground away, bringing your chin in towards your chest for cat pose, bringing your navel in towards your spine. And then take a nice big inhale here, keeping your back rounded. And then exhale to release, pushing the ground away even further. And then inhale for cow pose, and you can move naturally through these with your breath, maybe starting to naturally roll out your neck. Just moving intuitively, breath to movement, inhaling for cow pose and exhaling for cat. You can gaze over your right shoulder towards your right heel, and then over your left shoulder towards your left heel. Taking any movements your body feels like it needs. And you can tuck your toes, inhale, lift your chest, and then exhale, lift your hips up to the sky, downward facing dog. And take a few moments to get settled in here. You're going to have your feet about hips width distance apart. Again, all 10 fingers spread wide. Index finger out slightly. And pushing your shoulders away from your ears, pressing your belly into your upper thighs, and lifting your spine towards the sky. Maybe you pedal out a little bit. And eventually finding stillness and regaining control of your breath. We'll take a few strong breaths here. Inhaling through your nose. And exhaling out of your nose. And you can bend your left leg a little, keep your right leg straight, and then walk your hands towards your feet. So getting a nice stretch in your right leg. So your left leg has a nice bend in it. And then walking your hands back forward into a downward facing dog. And then bending your right leg, walking your hands back towards your feet. And just warming up your hamstrings, those muscles by your hip. Then walking your hands back forward into a downward facing dog. Then when you're ready, you can exhale, bend your knees, gaze towards your hands, and then step your feet towards the top of your mat. Coming into a forward fold, and grab a hold of your block. And you can take a minute to just grab opposite elbows and take a ragdoll pose, and letting your head hang. Just lengthening out your spine towards with the weight of your head. And then you can place your hands onto the block, straightening both legs, maybe wiggle out your hips, maybe bending both legs. And I like to really tilt my pelvis forward and just press my tailbone towards the mat behind me. And then inhale, reach your left leg back behind you, keeping your right leg planted on the earth. And you want to keep your hips squared to the ground beneath you. You can keep a slight bend in your right leg if you need. And maybe shifting the weight back in your heel and really feeling your belly start to press off your thigh. And really extend your left leg long out behind you. And then exhale, Shiva squat. Tap your left knee to your right calf. And then inhale to rise, extending your left leg back behind you. And then exhale, Shiva squat one more time. Inhale to extend it back behind you. And then exhale to slowly lower your left leg to the mat behind you. And we're going to step into warrior one. So bringing your left leg, your left foot at a 45-degree angle, your right knee stacked above your right ankle. You can walk the block back with you. You may even want to take a hand on your right thigh. thigh, press your hips back. Then I like to walk my right foot forward a little bit. I like to take this pose for wide and I have long legs. And then walk your hands towards your shin and thighs and just walk yourself up into this warrior one. With your hands by your sides, so you can take your hands to your hips to square them off. Pressing your left foot forward, or your left hip forward, stacking your right knee above your right ankle. And then inhale, reach your arms up towards the sky above you. And exhale, bring your hands down to heart center. Inhale, reach your arms forward. And then exhale, bring your arms to a T. And then one more time with this. Inhale, arms above the sky. Exhale, hands down to heart center. Inhale to reach in front of you. And then exhale, opening your arms up to a T. Inhale, arms high. And then you can walk your hands back down your thigh. Grab your block. And inhale, extend your right leg now into pyramid pose. And you can take your block wherever you'd like here, either on the left side of your right foot or the right side of your right foot. And I'm going to bring the block to the outside of my right foot here. And we'll stay here for a few breaths. And again, just focusing on sending that right hip crease back and your left hip forward. Again, you can place a gentle hand to help promote that. Finding softness in your legs. And take note of maybe if the weight is heavier in either your front foot or your back foot. Everyone is different, so see if you can notice that and maybe start adjusting. Then inhale, lift halfway through the crown of the head here. Find a lot of length. Send your hip crease back, square off your hips. And then exhale one last time. Dive down. Bring your chest towards your thigh. And then you can hop your left foot to meet your right at the top of your mat. And you can have your block here if you'd like. And then inhale to lift halfway through the crown of the head. Maybe taking your hands to your thighs. And then exhale to hinge back down. And now inhale, extend your right leg back behind you, keeping the weight in your left foot. And again, I have my hands on my block. And just keeping your hips squared towards the ground, maybe a soft bend in your left leg. And seeing if you can start to float your abdomen off of your thigh. Really lengthening that right leg back behind you. Then exhale, Shiva squat. Bring your right knee to your left calf. Inhale to rise, extending your right leg back behind you. And then exhale, Shiva squat. Inhale to rise, right leg back behind you. And exhale, you can lightly lower your right foot, coming into warrior one on this side. Bringing your right foot to a 45-degree angle. Sending your left hip back. Maybe walking your block back with you. And you can even take your hand onto your hip, promoting it to go in and your right hip forward. And then you can take your hands on your calf, walk your hands up your thigh, coming into warrior one on this side. You can bring your hands to either side and onto your hip, just squaring them off. Maybe bringing your left leg forward a little bit. Then inhale, reach your arms up to the sky. Exhale, bring your hands down to heart center. Inhale, reach your arms forward. And exhale, open your arms to a T. One more round like this. Inhale, arms up to the sky. Exhale, down to heart center. Inhale to extend them in front of you. And exhale to open your arms up to a T. You can lower your hands to your thigh, walk your hands back down to the ground towards your block. And then inhale, extend your left leg into pyramid pose on this side. And again, you can bring the block to either the left or right side of your left foot. Focus on distributing the weight evenly in your feet. You may even want to place your hands on your foot for a second and just see how your body's doing without a block. And then when you're ready, you can bring your right foot to meet your left. Again, you can have your block. Inhale to lift halfway. I have my hands on my block here. And exhale one more time, forward fold. Now exhale, I'm going to bring my hips towards my heels and shine the tops of my feet to the front of the room. And you can just giving the bottoms of your toes a nice stretch. You can even try to bring your hands to heart center, finding balance here. And inhale to lift halfway to the crown of the head. Exhale to sit your hands back down onto your heels, shining the tops of your feet. And then exhale, you can lower your shins onto the earth, sitting down onto your knees and your hips onto your heels. And exhale. You can lengthen through the crown of the head and rest your chest and belly onto your thighs. Resting your forehead onto the earth for embryo pose. Extending your arms back behind you. Taking nice even inhales and exhales here. Just gaining control of your breath. And letting your spine rest naturally onto your body and onto the earth, feeling fully supported. Then inhale to walk your hands back up. Then curl your toes, sit your heels on, or your hips onto your heels. Then inhale, reach your arms up to the sky. And exhale, interlace your hands, bring your hands to the back of your head. Inhale here and press your elbows back behind you. Bring your shoulder blades together. Open your heart, open your throat. And then exhale, curl your spine, bring your chin towards your chest, your navel towards your spine. And inhale to rise. Pressing your elbows back at the top of your inhale. And exhale to curl back down. Feel to rise one more time. And then exhale to bring your hands to your side. You can come off of your toes. And then take your knees slightly wide and sit your hips in between your feet and your knees for hero pose. And you can use blocks underneath your hip here if this feels like a lot on your knees and your quads right now. But if not, this is really great to help open up your hips. So staying at the top, just check in with your body. Notice what's feeling tight. Maybe the tops of your legs, your quads, and your knees, and your shins. And then you can bring a block or bolster behind you too, depending on how deep you want to go, how far you want to test your body today. But then you're just going to exhale, slowly walk yourself back. And then maybe even lowering completely, letting your hips fall between your feet and your spine rest towards the earth. And your knees shouldn't be too wide. It shouldn't feel like they're about to bust. This should feel like they should be tucked on the ground right beside your hip. And this should feel like a nice stretch on the front of your shins, the tops of your knees, your quads, your hips, your hip flexors. Then inhale to come out of this. Slowly walk your hands back up. And you can take your legs over to one side and coming back to your sit bones, bringing the bottoms of your feet to the ground, knees towards the sky. Maybe windshield wiping your legs, getting a nice release after that. Then exhale, you can slowly lower onto the ground, hugging your knees in towards your chest. And grabbing hold of the outside edges of your feet, coming into happy baby. And starting to think of how you'd like to take your final resting pose. I'm going to bring the bottoms of my feet together for the Shavasana to help just continue the opening of the front of my body. You can have your legs on a bolster, your legs out straight in front of you. And we'll just take a few breaths to rest our bodies and our minds, letting go of control of our breath, and checking in and seeing how your body's feeling after this practice. Relaxing everything in between your ears, everything in between your eyes, in between your eyebrows. Relaxing your jaw, relaxing your tongue from the roof of your mouth. And just doing a full body scan, giving your body the intention and energy and permission to relax and release any tension. Okay. You can stay in this as long as you want. And when you're ready, you can start to wiggle your fingers and your toes really over to one side. And then pushing yourself up to a seat. Finishing your practice off in a comfortable seated position. You can close off your eyes and take your thumbs to your third eye. Thank your bodies for supporting you through this practice and for doing so much good to your bodies this morning, giving it so much love and movement and flexibility and strength. And thank you for watching this and doing yoga with me. From my heart to yours. Namaste.